World News of the Week, 12th of August to 18th of August. A compact week in review.
Nationwide strike of Indian doctors after rape and murder of Kolkata medic. A tragic incident in Kolkata has triggered a massive strike by nearly 300,000 resident doctors across India. The strike, which began on Monday, was sparked by the rape and murder of a 31-year-old trainee doctor at R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital. Her body was discovered in a seminar room last Friday, and a suspect has since been arrested.
The incident has prompted a national outcry, with women's rights activists organizing protests and marches demanding safer conditions for women. A Reclaim the Night march in West Bengal took place August 15th, coinciding with India's Independence Day.
The Federation of Resident Doctors Association India, FORDA, condemned the attack, emphasizing the lack of security in medical institutions. Demonstrations have spread across the country, with female doctors in Vijayawada and Hyderabad holding signs demanding safer workplaces.
Private practitioners have also joined the strike in solidarity, cancelling their clinics and surgeries. One private practitioner highlighted the poor conditions and lack of security in government hospitals, where incidents of violence against doctors are increasing, particularly against women.
FORDA and the Federation of All India Medical Association, FIMA, are calling for immediate government action. They demand the passage of the Central Protection Act for doctors to ensure the safety of healthcare workers and stricter enforcement of existing laws. While 25 of India's 28 states have laws protecting doctors, enforcement is weak, and a national law is seen as essential.
The 2015 Indian Medical Association survey revealed that 75% of doctors have experienced workplace violence. This vulnerability, coupled with intense life and death situations, often leads to conflict, particularly in poor areas where education and trust in doctors are low.
National Indian Medical Association President R.V. Asakan has called for comprehensive reforms, including the installation of CCTV cameras in hospitals and the declaration of healthcare facilities as safe zones, especially as more women enter the medical profession.
India has a troubling history of violence against women, with over 31,000 reported rapes in 2022, though the actual number is likely higher. This incident in Kolkata, considered one of India's safer cities, has shaken the medical community and raised concerns about the safety of women nationwide.
Ukraine captures Russian town of Sudzha in Kursk Oblast amid rising tensions. President Volodymyr Zelensky announced on August 15th that Ukrainian forces have fully captured the Russian town of Sudzha in Kursk Oblast, marking a significant advance into Russian territory. Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky confirmed that Ukrainian troops now control over 80 settlements in the region, covering approximately 1,150 square kilometers.
Ukraine is establishing a military administration in Sudzha, led by General Edward Moskalyov, to strengthen its hold on the area. This move is part of a broader strategy to disrupt Russian logistics and prevent reinforcements from reaching the front lines in Donetsk Oblast. Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk emphasized that the operation also aims to create a security zone on Russian soil to protect Ukrainian border areas and ensure the safe evacuation of civilians.
In response to the Ukrainian advance, Russia has reported on disturbing incidents, including videos allegedly showing the severed head of a Ukrainian soldier. Ukraine has appealed to the United Nations and the International Committee of the Red Cross, urging them to recognize these acts as war crimes. Ukrainian authorities are currently investigating multiple cases of alleged executions of prisoners of war by Russian forces, underscoring the growing humanitarian crisis amid the ongoing conflict.
Revelations of police concerns and delayed response in Uvalde school shooting. 2 years after the tragic shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, new materials have been released, revealing the internal police conversations and community fallout following the incident. The release, which includes body cam footage, 911 calls, and text messages, was made public only after a lawsuit by CNN and other major news organizations.
The shooting, which resulted in the deaths of 19 children and 2 teachers, drew heavy criticism for the delayed police response. Despite the presence of 376 law enforcement officers, including over 90 from the Texas Department of Public Safety, it took 77 minutes to confront and neutralize the gunman.
Text messages among officers in the days following the massacre revealed their fear for personal safety as public outrage mounted. Officers discussed removing their photos from department websites and disabling communication platforms, feeling they were unfairly blamed for the delayed response.
In a press conference after the incident, Texas DPS Director Steve McCraw criticized the on-scene commander's decision-making, stating that officers retreated and failed to act according to active shooter protocols. This internal turmoil and blame shifting have only intensified the community's anger.
Victims' families have expressed frustration over the delay in releasing these documents, with some suggesting that quicker police action could have saved lives. Former Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo and Officer Adrian Gonzalez have been indicted on charges related to their inadequate response, with both pleading not guilty.
The release of these documents has reignited calls for accountability and transparency from law enforcement, as families continue to seek justice for the lives lost in one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history.
U.S. and China draw in historic Olympic gold medal tie. In a first for the Summer Olympics, the U.S. and China each secured 40 gold medals at the Paris 2024 Games, ending in an unprecedented tie. The American team pulled even with China during the last event, the women's basketball final, where the U.S. narrowly defeated France 67-66 to clinch their 8th consecutive gold in the sport.
The day started with China holding a 39-38 edge over the U.S., but intense competition and surprising results quickly shifted the standings. China's Li Wenwen won gold in women's heavyweight weightlifting, putting pressure on the U.S. team. Hopes dimmed further when American wrestler Kennedy Blades lost her gold medal match, and Italy's dominant performance in volleyball over the U.S. seemed to seal China's lead. However, U.S. cyclist Jennifer Valenti's victory in the women's omnium kept American hopes alive, setting the stage for the crucial basketball game.
U.S. coach Cheryl Reeve acknowledged she was aware of the stakes, but kept the pressure off her players. The last time the U.S. didn't lead in Summer Olympic golds was during the 2008 Beijing Games.
Overall, the U.S. still secured the most medals, with 126, marking its continued dominance in total medals since 1992. Despite strong performances, there was a sense that American athletes could have achieved more, particularly in swimming, where stars like Katie Ledecky shone but were outperformed by rising talents from France and Canada.
The Games also highlighted the growing competitiveness of smaller nations, with countries like Israel, Ecuador, and Kyrgyzstan making unprecedented podium appearances. The Olympic landscape is shifting, with medals being spread more widely across the globe. China's banking system tightens against Russia amid sanctions pressure. Chinese banks are increasingly refusing to process payments from Russia, exacerbating the effects of Western sanctions and limiting Russia's financial options. According to a report by the Russian outlet Izvestia, 98% of Chinese banks, including smaller regional ones, are now rejecting direct payment transfers from Russia. This development marks a significant escalation from earlier in the year, when some smaller Chinese financial institutions were still willing to facilitate transactions.
This shift is causing significant disruptions in Russia's economy, with supply chain issues and inflation potentially worsening due to the payment barriers. The difficulty is further compounded by reports from the Russian newspaper Kommersant that 80% of bank transfers made in Chinese yuan have been delayed or rejected without explanation.
The tightening restrictions by Chinese banks follow the imposition of secondary sanctions by the U.S. in December, targeting financial institutions that assist Russia in circumventing Western restrictions. As a result, even payments made in rubles are being turned away, and transactions through financial institutions in Hong Kong are facing resistance.
To cope with the increasing financial isolation, Russia is exploring alternative payment mechanisms, such as engaging with friendly third-party countries, using cryptocurrencies, and even reviving the ancient practice of barter trade. However, these alternatives may not fully compensate for the loss of direct banking relationships with China, a key trade partner.
The restrictions imposed by Chinese banks threaten to undermine a vital support system for Russia, which relies heavily on imports to sustain its economy and war effort. As Joseph Webster of the Atlantic Council noted, while Russia's exports finance its activities, its imports, particularly of industrial goods, are crucial for maintaining its military and political stability. The growing financial strain underscores the increasing challenges Russia faces as it seeks to navigate around the broadening scope of international sanctions.